Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
One second.
वेलकम टू कॉमन इंडियन वॉइस। आज हम लोग फिर से गीता पे चर्चा करने के लिए एकत्रित हुए हैं। हमारे साथ स्वामी प्रज्ञानंद जी हैं एंड गीतांजलि गोयल जी है। नमस्कार स्वामी जी, नमस्कार गीतांजलि जी।
नमस्ते स्वामी जी, नमस्ते ईशा जी।
अच्छा, there is darkness.
गीतांजलि जी, आप स्वामी जी के यहाँ पे थोड़ा सा पावर का प्रॉब्लम हो गया है, तब तक आपसे पूछती हूँ। ओके, चलिए ज्वाइन हो गए। स्वामी जी, आप तो हर बार एक श्लोक या प्रार्थना करके शुरू करते हैं, तो प्लीज।
ओम वसुदेव सुगम देवम कंसचाणूरमर्दनम देवकी परमानंदम कृष्णं वंदे जगद्गुरुम्।
स्वामी जी, आज हम लोग पिछले बार जैसे हम दूसरी अध्याय पे चर्चा कर रहे थे, तो मैं चाहती हूँ गीतांजलि जी आप शुरू कीजिए। आपका ही सवाल का जवाब हो रहा था, तो आप अपने सवाल से शुरू कीजिए, फिर मैं सवाल करूँगी।
जी, पिछले समय the last time the question I was asking last time, we continue with that. So the last time my question was that if but Swamiji said he's not in agreement with that question, that that these people are greedy. It's only the Kauravas which are greedy, not the gurus. So that was my question. And
no, I could not hear your question. Please repeat.
Okay, so my question last time was that since Arjun says to Krishna that we are fighting this war against people, including our Gurujan and our elders, and they seem to be under the influence of greed, and that's why they are fighting on the side of Kauravas. But we know better than them, so we should not fight them because they are our gurus and elders, no matter what mistake they are making today. So that is his question. And my understanding of that verse is that he's including the gurus, Dronacharya and Kripacharya and Bhishma Pitamaha, all of them in that category that they are fighting from the side of Kauravas because they are under greed.
I had started with saying last time that they were great people, actually. And Arjuna had a lot of respect for them. Initial sentiment which guides Arjuna's words is that great respect and love for them. So this opinion was not there at that time, we can safely say that. But when we think about it later, we come to the conclusion that Bhishma could have played a better and larger role. At least he should have considered both sides of the family, not only one side of the family. His vow was, his alliance was to, oath of alliance was to the throne of Indraprastha, that I will protect the ruler, in fact. So it should have been that the rule is also according to Dharma, some sort of code of conduct and laws, some code. So his vow of allegiance should have been to that code, not to a particular person, because a person can deviate from the code, Dharma. So he should have taken that into consideration and sided with Yudhishthira, even if it seemed temporarily that he is deviating, but that was not the case. So later we can analyze like that, but at that time, what he was doing has been appreciated. Even Yudhishthira did not ask. Even Yudhishthira did not ask that Bhishma and Drona, please come to our side. He knew that they are committed there. But when Yudhishthira went and asked, how can we defeat you? You can't be defeated by anybody. Tell us some method. How can we eliminate you remove you from the battlefront? Then Krishna and Yudhishthira went and asked. Then it is Bhishma who said that. Okay, you can remove me like this. Shikhandi, put Shikhandi in front, I will not fight him. If he comes in front, I will not fight. This much is told and Krishna got the idea. So, what I am saying is, if they have no any lure of their own life, how can we say they had some greed for money, fame, everything was there already. Bhishma did not lack anything. But this oath of allegiance to the throne, he could have interpreted in a different way, and he could have sided. But then the Mahabharata war would have lost its sheen. See, because both sides should be equal. If the war is to be fought, even for a match, it is necessary. So one-sided match is no interest. So to make the entire Mahabharata an interesting affair, so interesting that people are still studying it, researching it, and all this after almost more than 5,000 years, and it is 7 or 8 or 10 times larger than the epics, so-called epics in the West. I think Iliad, Odyssey, or something like that. So just think that how huge that book is, and still so interesting, so engrossing. So it is because of the main theme was, in the central theme is that war, preparations and aftermath of the war. So both sides have to be equal, and Duryodhana was dependent on Bhishma, Drona, Karna. He was dependent on them, so they could not, out of affection and oath of allegiance, they could not leave him alone at the difficult time. Yes.
May I ask one question, Geetanjali ji? थोड़ा सा related लग रहा है, इसलिए स्वामी जी, then धर्म क्या है? गीता में श्री कृष्ण क्या बोलते हैं? धर्म क्या है? What is dharma?
Dharma is something, the noble principles. 3 sides of dharma. One is the noble principles which one maintain in their life, the noble stature which they maintain in their life, and the noble acts which arise from that noble principles. This is one side of dharma, a daily dharma. That shows the status of a man, stature of the man. Man means human being who observes dharma. He should have a noble life, noble thoughts, noble ideas, and noble acts. That is one side of dharma. The second side of dharma is that your dharma in this life should transport you to a higher level of existence after death. In the afterlife, you should be transported to a higher level, like heaven, or even a Jivan Mukta or a Devarshi. Into the Devata, to those levels you have to be transported. Then only that also is dharma. Anything conducive to that higher afterlife, that is also dharma. That's why people are observing all these rules of religious rules, rites and everything, to elevate themselves after death. Third part of the dharma is that it should bring you good repute. You should have a great repute in this world. You should be considered a Mahapurush, a great man. So people should feel that you lived a very noble life. That will inspire many other people. So how inspiring is your life for hundreds, if not thousands or lakhs? That also shows whether you have observed your dharma. So in a human life, these three aspects have to be observed fully if we have to say that yes, we are leading a life of dharma. So dharma is a very complicated word. It cannot be contained in the word ethics or something. Ethics are relative, but dharma can be permanent, sanadana dharma. Like truth, it is a sanadana dharma. So the first ashram of life, brahmacharya ashram, along with education, the very purpose of education is to inculcate dharma in the very life. So dharma is the code of life according to which you have to live right from the age of 4 or 5 and till death, till the last moment of death. Dharma arthascha kamascha tad dharma kirna sevyade vyasas. Dharma gives you wealth to oneself, to family, to the country. Dharma will give you wealth. Dharma will give you, fulfill your desires. Adharmic desire is no desire, it is wickedness. So, dharma has to be observed throughout life, and that should be a mental status, mental stature, mental state. So, you are in a noble state, you are in a state of mind which will give you a great afterlife, and after that, you will be transported in a noble path and into a higher form of life. And thirdly, it should make you a role model for the humanity in which you are living. So these three aspects of dharma have to be observed. So the personal dharma should be conducive to the larger role of family dharma, kula dharma. And the kula dharma should be conducive to the still larger dharma, that is a national dharma, rashtra dharma. And the national dharma also should be conducive. It is not absolute. These days people think nation is the absolute thing. We can do anything for the welfare of the nation. We can even trample upon the rights and welfare of other people, races and people, those who are living in other nations. Like it is going to happen in Ukraine and other places. So just thinking like that, we can trample upon them, crush them. How can they do it? So the national dharma also should be conducive to the dharma of a humanity. So Sanadana Dharma says that you have to expand your mindset to the highest level. So that is why Arjuna is reprimanded by Krishna. Normally people will think he was taking a non-violent stand. He was taking he was considering the welfare of his family. What is wrong in it? But that Arjun's stature was that he was a role model for the humanity. So there the lesser considerations have to be foregone. That is a very difficult duty. It's a very difficult choice. But however difficult it is, he has to perform it. That's why in the very first words the Krishna utters, in the very first sloka, he says, what does he say? He says, Kudastva kashmalamidam vishmaya. From where did these bad feelings, where do they arise from? In you, because you are not like this. You have to bring back your normal state of mind. And you have to stand tall. You have to stand above these personal considerations. Then he says, don't be so like an inch, don't behave like an inch, because not taking a strong stand. That should not be. It's a taunt also, because Arjuna was an inch for a year due to some curse of Urvashi. So it's a taunt also. Have you not left that role behind? Like that. Naidatta yuva, this is not your nature. This is not you who is speaking. Then Arjuna admits that it is my my thoughts are being clouded by affection for the family. My thoughts are being clouded by even the indefinite future. And my thoughts are even clouded by cowardice. Such a word doesn't suit Arjuna. Krishna knew this, and he says also later. So that is Swadharma, the definition of Swadharma, one's own dharma, is according to those whom greater privileges have been given, much will be asked from them. So Arjuna was in a most privileged position. But Arjuna had a slight contempt for Yudhishthira also, because he had lost everything 2 times. So even after this great war, how is it sure that somebody from Kaurava side will come begging to the Yudhishthira, and Yudhishthira will not be again slander away everything that has been gained in this war? Just give it away. How is it sure that that will not happen? That also, because many times Arjuna has expressed his disgust at Yudhishthira's conduct. How can we win the war? How can we? Why do you do this like that? So that also, so many shades of mind influence one's conduct. Those who have dharma as their real nature, and human beings should have dharma as their real nature. So, in the end also, it is said, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna Yatra Partho Dhanurtara Tatra Shrir Vijayo Bhudir Dhruva Nidir Madir. Tatra Shri Vijayo Bhudir. All the material prosperity will be there, but Dhruva Nidir Madir Mama. Even the definite and assured level of justice, that also will prevail wherever there is Krishna and Arjuna, Sanjaya says. And along with that, Gandhari also says before the war that Yatra Yado Dharma Tado Jaya, Yado Krishna Tado Dharma. He assures Duryodhana that Dharma is, stays with Krishna. Krishna is the protector. Dharmasya Prabhur Achyuta. Krishna is the protector of Dharma. Oh.
Okay, Geetanjali ji, आप पूछिए.
Yeah, so for example, we see in the time of Ramayana, we see that Vibhishan, even if he is the brother of Ravan, for the sake of Dharma, he defected to the side of Sri Ram. He went away because he was what my question is his conduct more appreciable in that sense as compared to the people at the time of Mahabharata, because none of them.
I understood the question. So even now in Hindi people say Gar ke bedi langa daye. There is a message going around in social media. It says when Vibhishana in the end went to salute Ravana, when he fell in the battlefield, Ravana says, do you know why I was defeated? In spite of having a superior skills, army and everything, and fight, the war was in my area, not in Rama had come here after crossing the sea. In spite of that, I lost. Why do you know? Because my brother was on the other side. Lakshmana was on Rama's side, like that. But Yudhishthira had no choice. Yudhishthira was kicked out. Either I'll kill you or you got, and he kicked him virtually. Actually kicked him. So he was kicked out. In a literary sense, he was kicked out. So he had no choice. He could not stay in Lanka. So the natural choice was he went to Rama. He was not sure that Rama will accept him as a refugee. Rama will give him refuge. Even the Vanarasena was against. In the end, only Hanuman supported Vibhishana, that he has come to us at a time of great distress. And a person who is in distress from the opposite camp, he can be trusted. This way, it is Hanuman who gives an assurance, counsel. And Rama, though he had made up his mind to accept Vibhishana, accepted him. That is in the physical sense. In the spiritual sense, mystic sense, Ravana is Rajoguna, Kumbhakarna is Tamoguna, and Vibhishana is Sattaguna. Sita is the Sadbuddhi, the wisdom, spiritual wisdom in fact, not only a worldly wisdom, spiritual wisdom. And Rama is the soul, Atman. So in that manner also, the Sattva-guna always deviates towards, moves towards the Atman side. And it has to disengage itself from the doings of Rajoguna and Tamoguna, and then only this spiritual movement, real spiritual movement, will occur. So that is the in the mystic sense. So now what do you think?
Sorry, sorry, boliye, please.
Now what do you think about Vibhishana? I am asking whether he did the right thing or wrong thing. So that is the natural nature of Vibhishana Sattva to move towards the divine. Oh.
Yeah, because even like our Tulsidas ji, like one of the most famous bhajans of his, so it goes like Jake Priyana Ram Vedehi Tajiye Taki Koti Barisam Yadapi Paramasalehi. So even if somebody is very, very dear to you, you are instructed, like he said, it's known that he wrote this to Mirabai ji when she asked for guidance from him. So he had advised that if there are people in your life who are not devoted to Sri Ram or like to Param Brahma, then you have to leave them even if they are very dear to you. So if going by that,
there are two sets of Ramayanas. One is the Adhyatma Ramayana and its translations in various languages. The Bhakti movement originated with this translation of Ramayanas. So it had a great role to play. But the original Ramayana is Valmiki Ramayana. So in that, the devotional aspect is not stressed so much. It is the dharmic dharma, as I had explained before. The stress is on dharma. So Vibhishana had no choice. In Valmiki Ramayana, he was virtually kicked out, but he had a faith in Rama. He knew that Rama is right. He knew that Sita is to be, should be given back to Rama with unharmed. All these things, he was very emphatic in his counsel, wise counsel to don't listen to these fools. They
I think there is a network problem. There is a network problem. So गीतांजलि जी, मैं जब तक स्वामी जी ज्वाइन होते हैं हमारे साथ फिर से, हाँ, he has joined back. He has joined back. Yes, स्वामी जी. Again there is a problem. So गीतांजलि जी आप बताइए कि ये जो द्वितीय अध्याय है उसका सार आप क्या बोलेंगे? आपने पढ़ा है एंड आपके हिसाब से द्वितीय अध्याय का सार क्या होगा? क्या सीख
द्वितीय
मिलता है?
अध्याय तो मतलब जैसे the way I always take guidance from my dad, so he has always said कि पूरी गीता पढ़ो ना पढ़ो, द्वितीय अध्याय पढ़ लो, और द्वितीय अध्याय भी पूरा पढ़ो ना पढ़ो, उसमें स्थित प्रज्ञ के लक्षण पढ़ लो, which are like the towards the end 25 verses. So just the equanimity that we need to have in life, कि हर स्थिति में हमें अपनी बुद्धि को स्थिर रखना है, बुद्धि को विचलित नहीं होने देना. So that is the crux of the second chapter for me, कि स्थित प्रज्ञ होकर अगर हम जीवन जी सके तो वही है. स्वामी जी आप कहिए, आप आ गए.
Second chapter is a brief condensed form of BhagwatGita. So it is the essence of BhagwatGita. In it, there are three parts mainly. First is about the Atman. If a person is blind to his Atman, then his life is lost. Whatever may be his gains materially, his life is a blind one. The real blindness is blindness of the possibility of Atman. So that is the first part in which Krishna says this, the Upadesha, real Upadesha. So that is 11 to 25, Shloka 11 to 25. And there are two fillers, 25 to 30, other philosophies which are not proper, correct, according to Krishna. Then 31 to 38, there is this explanation of Swadharma, telling Arjuna how great you are, so that one who cannot think of good things about themselves, they will fall in their life. They will fall to lesser things. So the downslide will be there. So everybody has to know his Swadharma. Swadharma is one's real nature, inherent nature also, and accordingly what is the good code which one has to live in life. And third, in the third part, that is a filler, 39 to 46, Kamana Purna Yagya. Yagya, sacrifices with desires. So Krishna says that is no good. Even if Vedas say, somebody says Vedas are saying that, what I am saying is the real Yagya. In third chapter, he says that. So Kamana Purna Yagya, desirous sacrifices, is telling that that is not good thing to do. That is not a real thing of Veda. And there is the main part is 47 to 53 is Karma Yoga, essence of Karma Yoga. And 54 to 72 is this Sthita Pragya. These are called Prakarans. So you can say there are 6 Prakarans in the second chapter. If we include the Arjuna Vishada, which is continuing from last chapter, we are left in the last chapter that Arjuna is singing to his seat in the Ratha instead of standing and fighting. From there, some slokas up to 11, 10 slokas, it is a continuation of that. So if that is also included, then there are 7 prakarans. So these 7 prakaran means a particular topic is dealt with. A particular theme is emphasized. That. So these 7 prakarans are there. In the last prakaran, this Sthita Pragya. Sthita Pragya is the highest state of an Atmajnani, self-realized soul, how they will walk, talk, behave, think, and see things about themselves and the world. How they will be very, very, very self-restrained, self-controlled. It is their nature. They don't have to do it every time. Oh, I will not look, I will not think, I will not hear. They don't have to do it. It is their nature. So this Sthita Pragya Avastha is the highest. And Krishna calls it the Brahmajnani. Esha Brahmi Sthiti Partha in the last sloka, 72nd sloka. If it is attained even at the last moment of life, one realizes, oh, everything I had, I thought I had, are vanishing. Now this is the last moment. My real nature is Brahman, Atman. Others were illusionary. I was just imagining in my memory, I was searching for even myself, that I have this personality. So when the illusionary things are totally removed, one becomes a Sthita Pragya and established in Brahma, Brahmanishta. Stotriyam Brahmanishtam is the description of the highest saint. He is well versed in scriptures and he is sure footed. He is standing in Brahma in a strong manner. His conviction is there about Brahman. Brahman and its various aspects. He doesn't have to refer to a scripture every time. It is there in him itself. So all these things, many great realized souls were just illiterates. They could not even read the scriptures, let alone give big expositions. So all these things are there. So this Sthita Pragya state is the highest state that has to be achieved either through, even if one travels through the devotion on the devotional path, if one is on the path of action, karma yoga, even if one is on the path of contemplation, Raja Yoga, even if one is on the path of knowledge, Jnana Yoga, or any other path. One may start from anywhere, but one has to finally tread this level. Then only that surely he will be a liberated soul. Goal of human life is self-realization, God realization, self-realization. So this has to be remembered. That's why that Prakaran is added in the end. So this is a perfect introduction to BhagwatGita. And rest are explanations. So we can even take up if the questions are from 31 to 46 next time, or from 11 to 25, like that we can take up these prakarans. So let us travel through prakarans. BhagwatGita, entire BhagwatGita is not only chapter, sloka, chapter, there is prakaran in between. So it will be better to travel through prakarans.
Okay, we will do that. We will do that. वैसे भी इस बार तो time just it's nearly over. And I think हम लोग cover नहीं कर पाएंगे. हम cover नहीं कर पाएंगे. तो अगले बार हम लोग प्रकरण लेंगे. पहला प्रकरण, दूसरा प्रकरण and तीसरा प्रकरण हम लोग कोशिश करेंगे उसको कवर करने के लिए. एंड मैं फिर से मेरे श्रोताओं को बोलना चाहती हूँ या मेरे ट्विटर के जो दोस्त है, अगर आप लोगों को भी कोई सवाल है तो प्लीज पूछिए, क्योंकि हम दो लोग पूछने से तो बहुत अच्छा होगा कि बहुत सारे लोग अगर पूछेंगे. गीतांजलि जी, मैं आपसे भी रिक्वेस्ट करूंगी कि आप भी पूछिए लोगों से कि सवाल तो पूछिए ना. कोई सवाल आए तो फिर उसको हम लोग फॉरवर्ड कर सकते हैं स्वामी जी को, एंड स्वामी जी फिर
you are doing very well. Congratulations.
We want more response. Actually, that is the thing, that the response, yeah, people say it's very nice, but there is no question beyond that. So my thing is just complimenting is okay, but it will be highly appreciable if people send in their questions also.
Okay,
Because,
please.
as I have understood, Gita is not everyone's cup of tea. It's quite complicated and it is very deep. So we have questions. Other people have even deeper questions. So questions will make us understand Gita even better. So यही बोल के आज खत्म करूंगी. स्वामी जी नमस्कार, धन्यवाद. आप इतना टाइम दे रहे हैं तो बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है. तो नेक्स्ट टाइम श्रोताओं हम लोग पहला, जैसे स्वामी जी ने बोला है, पहला, दूसरा, तीसरा प्रकरण दूसरे अध्याय से लेंगे. एंड गीतांजलि जी ने भी बोला है कि दूसरा अध्याय सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट है. तो वी विल कम बैक. एंड अगर आपको अच्छा लगा तो लाइक कीजिए, शेयर कीजिए, सब्सक्राइब कीजिए एंड प्लीज क्वेश्चन जरूर पूछिए. नमस्कार. थैंक यू गीतांजलि जी.
Oh,
धन्यवाद स्वामी
oh,
जी.
oh.